is freedom. So open your heart and receive it. And there is a hope to believe in. It's Jesus. It's Jesus. And there is true joy in His freedom. Open your heart and receive it. And there is a hope to believe in. It's Jesus. Sing out. And there is a joy in His open your heart. Open your heart and there is a hope. And there is a hope. It's Jesus. 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 There is true joy.
Good evening. It's so great to have you. Charles, we are so privileged tonight because we have a fantastic panel with us.
Yeah, we have Pastor Fred and Pastor Abby with us. Amazing couple. They've been with us for FamilyLIFE Ministry, and they just one amazing couple that you can look up to.
And then on this side, we have an attorney and a social worker. We are just making sure that you're all covered, all bases are covered tonight. The Malchasses, introduce yourself and just say hi to the people. Well, that's fantastic. So, can you quickly just introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Mic up, mic up.
Good evening, I'm Christina Malchas. Married to George. Mom of 3 children and a beautiful granddaughter.
Oh, yeah. Now, when you've got grandchildren, then you've got bragging rights. I must say, Pastor Frederick and Pastor Abby, they've got grandchildren too. Just tell us about your grandchildren.
Yeah, I'm Frederick. Our cat had 6 kittens, yeah. I don't want, just to my sons, no grandkids now, please. No grandkids. We
Not
don't want any
yet.
grandkids though.
Not yet. Okay, so that's very interesting. And tonight we are going to cover a little bit of married and still going now. We were just calculating, Charles, how many?
We are, they got 20 years marriage, 30 some years marriage, and we are 45 years married. So you are getting 100 years of married experience tonight. You better hold your seat because something gonna happen tonight in your life.
Absolutely. And we want to just welcome everybody that's online watching. Goodness me, I see the people are there. Now, and if you have a question that you would like to ask anyone in the panel, surprise us with your questions, make it fresh and new. And we would gladly answer your questions as much as we can. Of course, we've got an attorney. He'll check that we don't say wrong things. Yes, and we just worked on the whole history of Port Elizabeth here while we were waiting to go online. But it's fantastic to have everybody there. I see Delphine, Bridget. Hi, Bridget. I hope your husband's watching too. And then Laxman. Hi, Lucky. And Maria. It's great. And then Mamani. I see Nomangezi. Hi, Nomangezi. It's great to have you on. And Leilani Thurman. Fantastic. Everybody else that's on, please share and invite your friends to come on. Because you know what? Good advice comes for free. I'm telling you. We've got the attorney here. If you go to him, he's going to charge you. Tonight we give it to you for free.
Take it.
And the social worker, and she's going to sort out the children problems right here. It's really, we're just teasing because you know what, they are also a married couple. And it doesn't matter who you are. We've got pastors, we've got a businessman, a pastor, and a politician, and social worker, and an attorney. But it comes to the same thing. Yes. We are married, and we are still going. Now, we are so challenged in our own marriages sometimes. Goodness, Michelle.
Yeah, I see Pastor Mariana Crompton is watching. And Nadine Murray, thank you very much all for watching. Yeah, look, whether you're a pastor or an attorney or estate agent, your challenges is the same. I mean, it's not no difference. There is no difference in that. And I think that's why we can talk to the whole community out there. And we got so much, divorce rate is so high lately. People divorce for nothing. It's things that, and tonight we're going to talk about, you can do it.
Yes.
You can push through. There is a way. If I can do it, you can do it. Everybody can do it, because there's one way that you can do it, and it's work through your challenges.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't. Nobody can. You can't even live with yourself and agree. Even if you have a goldfish, you're gonna have issues. It doesn't matter if you have a cat, you're gonna have issues. So imagine living with a person that talks back,
Yes.
not like your cat or your goldfish. But so it's important that we share information here today and experience.
Yeah.
And I hope the Lord will lead us to help you tonight with all that.
I just want to add on to what Pastor Fritzie and Marianne and Charles are saying. I work in a space where I see couples almost every day. I'd say at least one couple a week, or at least one of the partners who comes in and speaks about, I want to divorce my husband or wife. And then as you speak to the people, you actually realize how blessed you are that you're able to work through your own issues. As you've said earlier on, we've been married for 33 years, 4 months, and 12 days.
Wow. That's a good memory.
There's another 4 hours in here as well. But we are well placed, when I get home at night, when I speak to Trazina, I said, you know what, I saw this couple today and these are their issues. And we are able to learn from that and the mistakes that people make.
Yeah.
And I think we are so blessed. Even with her, while she was still working, she could tell me, these are the issues, and we know the pitfalls, or most of them, in any event. And that helps, and that's why I think it's important that we help one another in this journey that we are on. Thank you.
And it is so, come to think of it, you guys were telling us earlier tonight, how did you meet? What was the spark between the two of you?
I'm gonna share some stuff quickly. The strange part about it, when I thought about it, is for a whole year, Trazina walked past me every day, but I didn't notice her. We were at University of Western Cape in 1983, and that's when we were both in our first year, but we only met in our second year. And earlier on, I mentioned to you that important to couples out there, or those that are contemplating finding a partner, is get yourself a good wingman. I had the best wingman. I had the best wingman that I could at the time, and it's Ralton de Blanche. And Ralton was courting Amanda at the time, and Trazina and Amanda were roommates. So Ralton fed me all the information what Amanda was discussing with Trazina. So much so that Ralton came to me and said, you know what, Amanda says, you're never going to get Trazina because she's got another boyfriend.
Hey.
I said, okay, that's good. That's good. Watch me. The rest is history.
Well, this is it. It's interesting because you are saying that you had a best friend and it was Ralton, but you also you went to a wedding of a friend.
We also had a wingman.
Oh, you, that
Funny
works.
enough, he also passed away, so I don't know. He passed away, he was also young. But that wingman story is very important because you do get fed with information. My wingman, because we were at a wedding and I was the best man and Abby was the bride, the maid of honor, bride, the main one. And so we were going around, we were in Grafrenet of all places, a small place, the dorpie is right there where the people are living. So we just walked down and so we drove past Abby. And so he was saying to me, there's your girl. Gaat jou meisie. There's your girl going. So I was like, no man, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
At that stage, we knew each other because back in Cape Town, we were students together, also at a college.
Not us,
I mean,
the wingman and Abby.
Let's just get the facts straight.
Let's get the facts straight, yeah.
So, yeah.
So we had somebody in common that knew Abby and knew me and brought us together in Grafrenet.
And we met in the church at the wedding.
At the altar. And I'm
Well,
still at the
unplanned.
altar. This morning we were at the altar, so I'm still at the altar.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think I was a bit of a rough yo in my young days, so.
There was no wingman.
Yeah, there was no wingman. I was
All by
winging
yourself.
myself. Yeah. Anyway, so we as a couple of young people, we call it hippies those days. So we thought, oh man, let's go and visit this church. So we went to visit this church, just to make a mockery of it. Anyway, it was not to go to church. So went into the church, and well, the rest is history. I had to give I gave my life to the Lord that time, and you know what? Marianne was there, and she was checking me out. I mean, obviously, she had my eye on this hippie with his bell bottoms and his all these things, and she was checking me out. But she actually caught me. She caught me in a trick there, but she will tell you about that.
Yeah, no, and you see, the thing is, I like this thing that you need to have a friend. It is true what the Bible says, because you will be known by your friends. If you don't have good friends, if you have other kind of friends, they're going to lead you to the person that you're going to get married on that side. So it's so important. I think it's tip number 1 here tonight. Number 1,
Best friend.
get to know your friends and make sure they serve the Lord, and be involved in places where it is safe to find the right person.
Yeah.
But you guys weren't saved at the time,
No,
George.
not at all. I was a student at the time, like her, but she was the more reserved one, and I was running with the wild bunch at the time. But yeah, very, very, very quickly she straightened me out. I had to make some changes at the time, because she said to me, "If you want to be with me, this is who I am. I'm not settling for anything less. You decide."
Wow.
Which is a good lesson, I think. At the end of the day, the principle was established right from the word go.
Yeah.
That I'm not going to change my principles. I'm not going to lower my standards. You decide what you want to do.
Yes.
And I think it's a very important life lesson that we learned. Let me say me more at the time, that I had to make some adjustments and changes, but it all worked out. It all worked out, in terms of the actual physical meeting her. I coincidentally walked into a room where she was with Amanda and other girls and Rautenem, and they were chatting, and I was just checking them out, and I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 8 guys here, and there's 9 girls. One is odd. Let me work out with the odd one out here as quickly. And it was her, obviously, at the time. And I said, "No, but you are the odd one out. You can come and chat to me." And I think, in essence, it was important to understand that when you meet someone, that you should set the standard, you should set the bar, and you should not in any way compromise on your own principles. At the end of the day, it's the other person who has to make the adjustment. And I think that is important one that I would also believe to be a strong life lesson to prospective partners.
I see there that Lachey Williams is saying that is such a good lesson. Well done for you, Trezinia. Don't lower the bar. Just because you are lonely or want to be in a relationship, you don't have to negotiate. What was the kind of values that you had? Just hold the mic closer to your mouth.
I think I was blessed. I grew up in a Christian home. So when I left home with those values. I knew what was right, I knew what was wrong. And it's very true, like you say, Marianne. Sometimes when people are lonely, and I was very lonely at school, my background is a little bit different than other children that grew up in the northern areas. I grew up in a very close, secure family with not lots of people and whatever. So when I left home and the big world opened up, it was a very lonely place because I didn't knew that at home. At home, my world was very close, very secure. And then I had this thing, what do I do in this big place? But the one thing I knew, there was principles that was laid in my life. That was my foundation. And like you said, we up to today, Amanda and myself, we still tease the two of them. and say, you two should be so happy that we came along.
And that you keep, you know,
Yeah,
but now,
but you keep your principles, and you don't change, because unfortunately you cannot change people really.
No,
and
you
later
can't.
you sit with what you were willing to accept right from the beginning, and then you can't change it
wow,
anymore.
that is,
True, yeah.
I think that is a piece of wisdom. Because you sit with what you negotiated with. You negotiated on your principles, then you said you should then already say no. Well,
Yeah,
we
I
are
think
now
saw it
married.
Also, when we met, I was this roughy old. Marianne never let down lower her principles. She didn't come to me to my hippie or my things, and I had to come to her things, and I wanted to, because I grew up a reasonable good home, good family home. And obviously he saw through me that I was a good guy. I mean, outside I was not good, but inside I was good. She had a revelation. But you know, at the end of the day, the leader of our gang said to me that time, he said, hey, the pastor's daughter smack you. Yes, and I said, I'm not holy enough. No, I'm not holy enough for the pastor's daughter. You know, was that feeling. But I was so impressed that the pastor's daughter liked me. So, and then, So one night she said to me, come, let's walk home with me. And I thought, yeah, this is like, and she held my hand and I fell over the pavement. I can't believe what's happening with me. The pastor's daughter, this unholy giant.
And she made the first move.
She really smart.
And she made the first move.
I
She made the first move. She hooked me like this. So I couldn't get out of her claws.
I knew I wanted this guy, and so I'm really so chuffed. Now, Amanda says, proud of you, Choma. You set the bar, well done. Yeah, and it's a pity that Ralton isn't here, but he's celebrating in heaven now with Pastor Jamie. But now, I'm just thinking about our lives together and all of us being married, and none of us are holier than anybody else. We all face so many challenges. We've had some serious fights. Oh my goodness. I remember once I packed my bags and I left the home. And where I went to, again, you must have a good friend, because it depends on your friends what they will do with your life. Because if you go to a naysayer, a person that will say, divorce him, that's what's going to happen. But I went to one of my friends because I meant to leave PE that night, and she said, you will not leave Port Elizabeth unless you phone Jimmy Crompton. And I said to her, but if I phone Jimmy Crompton, he's going to tell me to go back home. She said, I don't care. This is my house. This is my phone. You will phone. And you know, that's a good friend. That is what you need in your life. You need somebody with similar values in your life. Gather yourself. Surround yourself with good friends. It helps your marriage. It helps your relationships. Anyway, the rest is history.
Yeah, but I think you must come out with the thing. I was flirting with a lady. So that's all that happened. and Pastor Jimmy Crompton phoned me. He said, I want to see you, but there's no cell phones or anything. So I come to your office and I ran out of the office. I went straight to my home. I said, he's not going to, it was not 10 minutes. Yeah, I hear the Sarah C6 stopping in front of my yard. He said, come with me. I had to follow him. And he actually took us straight to, and we made up. And
Here we are.
So here we are.
So your challenges are there. It doesn't mean because you've got values.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean because you're educated. It doesn't even mean if you're cute like Charles, funny, or you're gorgeous like Abby. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have trouble. Did you guys have a
We
serious...
never had trouble in our lives.
Is somebody going to do an altar call here? Well, I think one of the things that challenged us
Let
as
me
a
just hear what
couple
the troubles were.
was that we had a long-distance relationship.
Yeah.
When we met in Graafrenet, I went back home after that wedding to
Cape
Cape Town, and he came back to Port Elizabeth. And then we started this friendship thing, phoning each other. And then, at that wedding, there was some chemistry, there was some sparks happening there. But in any case, I never thought that we would be able to get together because of the distance, and I never could picture myself coming this way. But in any case, as our relationship progressed throughout the year, he used to visit me probably 7 times that year. Quickly, it was a Friday evening, a Saturday, spending together.
I would drive up to Cape Town on a Friday, straight from work. Yeah, I was still at the church. Straight after Friday, drive somewhere on the N2, poof, come back Saturday night for church on Sunday.
That's the
Church on
Very
Sunday.
eager.
So I was very eager, yeah.
But because of that, I think we had to treasure those moments because it wasn't so many moments, but we always put our best foot forward. So my hair was in place and everything was proper. We made sure we had a good time, you know, we went out on lovely dates. So there was no space for the arguments or to
know
get
each other,
to
yeah.
each other that well for us to have that arguments. But I think the year preceding our wedding, I came to Port Elizabeth and we sort of settled down, got a place. And I think also the same thing happened, but we got to know each other just a little bit better. But obviously we know you only get to know your spouse when you get married, because now you're living together. So I think that first year
was
the first year was the most challenging. It was challenging.
toughest year, because if you talk about, me and Abby has never fought like we want
Having a
to,
row
like
or something.
maybe packing my bags. Or
She just
packing
doesn't
my
got a
bag.
suitcase, brother.
We shared one.
Yeah, we shared a suitcase, and she was in Cape Town, so she can't just go. And then, but the first year, it was the ministry. It was
Ministry.
orientated.
Getting right into ministry.
Because I was actively involved in
Yeah.
ministry.
You started this church before we got married as well.
Yeah.
So
a
you
year
already-
before we
yeah.
got married, I started the church. And so I had people that needed sort of advice from and needed guidance as a pastor should. And now I expected Abby would just come and slot into that. You know, and Abby wasn't, she was saved, she was.
Yes. but not in
At that
the
stage, she
leadership
wasn't.
capacity.
Yeah, she wasn't even speaking in tongues. She couldn't be filled with the baptized in the Holy Spirit. She got baptized in the Holy Spirit that year,
Yeah,
that same year
afterwards, yeah.
when we came down here. So she was, she wasn't ready for. She wasn't ready for what she faced, because now there was ladies of all ages wanting
Yeah.
to have advice and all of those things,
Yeah.
and it came to without saying too much, spilling our whole lives out. But it came to sort of a head where it was many Sundays where I used to go alone to church. Said, it's your vision, it's your church type of.
No, I
leave
was
me
ready
alone.
to support and do everything, and because I wanted to emulate what I saw. So for me, my previous pastor's wife was there, in the front row supporting her husband, but her husband was always the one speaking, and she was never behind the
okay.
pulpit. So I wanted to emulate that, but I it was just different here.
Yeah, the
So it was very
situation wasn't
difficult
the
for
same,
me
yeah.
to step into that role. But having said that, I had some amazing ladies that just supported me. I mean, some of those ladies, I wanted to sit at their feet, but they really graciously just embraced me. And but when it came to us, I think the headway was one day when I realized, how much he really needed me in the ministry next to him. And that was a pivotal moment, that Sunday, I remember. And I realized I need to step up. I need to be at his side, whatever's required, and that's where it changed.
So in those moments, there was a lot of heated moments. There was a lot of moments where I thought to myself, "Ugh, it's a tough situation."
And I think
here.
also there's moments of frustration where you keep things in until it gets to a place where it bursts out. So I think we've learned the frustrations do come, but we need to communicate more.
Yeah,
Just
so
to
there's a lot I can say about it, but there's whatever you need to get through it, man.
Yes.
There was never, I must say this one thing, there was never a thing like we were going to leave each other or whatever. It was, because I also realized that almost Abby gave up everything. She gave up a life in Cape Town, a job, she quit a job there. She gave up basically a family, all the people that she knew, and came here. So I had to sort of come to the realization, because I was in the ministry, you just go. There was no stopping, pausing button. I mean, especially because it was in the beginning when we started the branch. So I was everything. You know what I'm saying? Oh, the praise and worship leader I pray for people, catch them, do the sermon, and
Set
do the
out the
offering.
chairs,
Take up the
music.
offering, set out the chairs.
Or fetching the people,
Fetching
bringing
the people, bringing
Sure.
their only car. So
Yeah.
all of those things have a big toll on your family.
So being a pastor didn't safeguard you from challenges.
No.
Every
Yes.
marriage,
No
whether you
ways.
are who,
No
you will be
ways.
challenged.
No ways.
And in your lives, you have had many challenges too, I'm sure. Being both in professional, the pressure from different kinds of professional, there were challenges.
I will let us speak on that. I just want to take 2 points that was made quickly, just 2 points. As when Charles was mentioning earlier on that this girl really smacked him, it was the same with me. No,
He's trying to win.
she'll have a different version on this, but as they say, trust me.
He's an attorney, trust him.
Our first date, I took her to the computer lab to do some work, and I didn't know anything about sociology because that's what was on the computer, but I gave all the answers. I assisted her. And as we were walking back to the rest, I just quickly jumped into the university's garden. They had a beautiful garden, and I took 2 flowers, roses, stuff that I stole there, and I gave it to her. And she accepted it. Gesteelde blomme. But then I heard from my wingman the next day, the next evening actually. I heard from my wingman that early that next morning, she went back to the computer. And she went to fix all the answers that I had given on that. And that to me was a clear indication I'm on the right track. But speaking about challenges, we've faced many challenges, many challenges. And the one that I want to speak on quickly, you can talk about on the others, is that right in the beginning, 2 years into our marriage, she also wanted to walk out. And she was ready to walk out. And I didn't know what to do, where to go, what to do. I went back to my wingman. And Amanda knows about this. They were married probably for 2 months or 3 months, something like that. And I went and I knocked at his door on a Sunday morning. And I said, Relton, get up. I need you. You need to come to my house. I really don't know what to do. My wife's ready to leave.
Suitcase ministry.
Amen. And he said, George, I don't know what to do, but let me go and check out. And he came and he spoke to us and he said, I haven't got any answers for you. But what I suggest to you, what I propose to you at this point is, church starts in an hour. Come with us to church. Come with me and Amanda to church. It was in Harold Road.
Wow.
We went to church that morning and things changed.
Wow.
Things changed, but understanding that the days leading up to that date was tough because we were constantly arguing and challenges and we're not making any headway. And on that Sunday morning, she said, I've had enough.
Wow.
I'm calling my dad to come pick me up now. He must come and get me. And I said, okay, I don't know what to do. And that's what I did.
Awesome.
I think it's like I said earlier. It's difficult. You at least had the luxury. You were both Christians. We didn't have that luxury. I married a guy that I turned around at school, at university.
Just hold the mic
At
like
university.
that, please.
And then he was union. Now imagine a Kongkerk and a Pinksterkerk. It's like really now, how do you marry those two things? And he's not actually even really serving the Lord, but there's this colored culture thing. When you marry a man, you go to his church.
His church.
So that was it. When I married him, it was, my in-law said, okay, now you're coming to Vice Memorial Church in Shorter. I must come to, I've never been to Vice. What do I go do in this church? But I tried it for the sake of the marriage. But now the Bible also speaks about don't be unequally yoked. And there we were trying to pull this wagon with different values. He's pulling this side, I'm pulling, I know what I know, he know what he knows, half of what he knows. But you know how good God is. We had our first child. And then just before the birth of our second child, and they're only 16 months apart.
Yeah, I know how to do it.
Just before the birth of our second child. And that's when our problems were horrible. Because we just couldn't get eye to eye about church. And for me, church was important. I need to be in a church. I need to serve the Lord. I need to live out. But I can't do it in a base memorial kerk. So you know what happened? Eventually we stopped going to church. And unfortunately, I am a very strong-headed person. I have a voice. I have a voice of my own.
Aye.
And I have a stance of my own. Sorry, Michelle, it changed over years. But I do. So eventually we just stopped going to church because I can't fit in. I don't see why I should go to church on a Sunday morning, back my child up in, and nothing happens. But you know what happened, how good God is. Then we moved this side of the world. Now we're out of Bettelsdorp because we stayed in 24. And we moved this side of the world. And when we moved this side of the world, and our problems obviously just increased. Didn't get better, got worse.
Circumstances don't make anything better. You have to deal with what's inside of you.
Yeah.
But you know, God was so good to us. When we got to this side and we were at the peak of our problems, we realized, listen here, we have to pull together.
Yes.
We can't pull separate ways. And you know, that's so important for marriage. You pull together. You don't go this way and that way. And then we decided, what now? And like he said, the day when it was like at its worst, and Ralton came and he said, go to church. And funny enough, nogal, in the middle of all that chaos, we went to church. But that was also an eye-opener for him. That this is what the gospel is about. This is what church is. This is what relationship is. And from there onwards, our lives just changed.
So
he gave his life to the Lord, and then we decided, praise the Lord, we're out of Bettelsdorp. Now we can't go to AGS. I was in the AGS. We can't go back to AGS. It's in Shorter. We're definitely not going to Wys because I'm not going to. And we had to find a church because then we realized we needed a church.
Yeah.
We're raising a family. We're raising children. And then Ratna Manna said, come to Word of Faith. And here we are 30 years later.
What I'm seeing here is that in our case, it was Pastor Jimmy that went, so he was like a father that cared. Again, it is who you have in your life.
Yes.
It's really important you had Relton because you can really phone him. It's who you have in your life. Shame you that we had nobody, but you just had Jesus. No, you had Denver.
We had
Pastor
Denver and
D.
Renee.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
must also say, Renee was also very instrumental in me meeting Abby or making the decision. And even Pastor Denver.
Yeah.
You know, after seeing Abby, we didn't see each other for about a month and a half or 6 weeks. We didn't. And then one day Pastor Denver said to me, you know, did you phone that girl already? You know what I'm saying? And so him and Renee pushed that. And also in our marriage, it was important I needed to speak to, we needed somebody and people to speak into our lives. And in that stage, funny enough, it was just a time, because I was in Relton's Connect group, or that time it was Cell group, for many years, in the beginning years. And then when I went to Bible college, and it sort of changed with Denver, because I was under, Pastor Denver was a pastor here, and I had to work under him physically, and so that sort of changed again. So I went under Pastor Denver. And they came in, and we could bounce things off of them.
Yeah.
I also want to say this one thing, is that although there is a lot of people that's divorcing, I actually realized that when you look around, there's actually more people that are married.
Yes.
Yes, that's
Do you understand?
right.
So
That's
at
right.
that stage, when I could go to any couple, from Relton and Amanda to Denver and Renee, Pastor Jimmy, Mariana, the two of you, whoever, my own brothers, do you know, say Wesley, Gregory, Ronnie, all of them are married for 20 odd, 30 odd years. Now, I'm not saying that people are not getting divorced. People are getting divorced, but there is a lot of
People
our parents that's been married for 30,
many
40 years, or
Through all challenges.
through many other people that you can go to. So sometimes we get a bit caught up in the divorce thing, and we don't realize that it's actually more people that stays married than gets divorced.
So why don't we ask the people that's watching us online, why didn't you just quickly send us a text message how long you are still married? How many years are you married?
Yeah.
Let's see how many people are married. And if you are divorced, it's not a shame to say I'm divorced. Let's have a bit of a poll here right now.
But I think we're sitting with I mean, people out there you want to know what's the real issues, because we're all sitting with issues that I mean, whether you're a pastor, whatever you are, you got issues, and we had our own issues. Like, I mean, we weren't married like this. We had a lot of fights, a lot of arguments.
I'm like
in the beginnings.
I'm strong. I know what I want.
In the beginning years, I was sulking. She was fighting. She was very good at fighting.
And he's good at sulking.
Sulking. I was a professional sulker.
Silent manipulation.
That's it. And it works for me. I thought that's what my father used to be. When my mother fight, and then he would sulk. And I thought that's a role model. And later years I found out, and that's why we are going to talk tonight. We got the marriage weekend on Kazuka Lodge, and we went to a similar thing. And they actually came to my senses. This woman need to talk. I need to talk to her. And it was so difficult for me because I'm not used to talk to her, because I will lose the battle anyway, the fight, the argument. I will lose it anyway, so I didn't worry about fighting. Yeah. And the personalities, I'm this person and she's that person. And then my eyes went open. Oh, is this the personality? This is how I have to handle, because she's this expressive person. I look like an expressive person now. But she's an expressive person. I was very withdrawn that time. I have to give her that space that she can be who she, I mean, I have to allow her who she, I'm not sitting back and wondering, you're supposed to be this little housewife, Afrikaans housewife, sitting in a house cooking for the food. And that's not work. And she had to give me my space as well. And I had to blossom. I'd come out of my...
And now he's the crazy one.
Yeah. I'm not really... I'm married to you, must be crazy. Anyway, so...
After all these years, you finally went crazy.
Yeah, so...
I discovered, I should have known when we got engaged that this man has got a crazy habit. Because he wanted to do this big engagement on his knees in front of people. I said, if you dare do it, there's no engagement here. I was hiding in a corner. You will not do that. I'm standing in a corner. Then I should have known, he likes it up front, loud, and everybody must know it. I see there's a whole lot of people.
Wow,
it's flying there. How many people are married? I was actually seeing Pastor Dorothy and Pastor Kali are married 49 years in March. Yeah. Excellent. Let's just change the topic quickly because time is flying. It's a great conversation, and I'm sure everybody else seems to be enjoying it. We've got a lot of viewers. But right now, we know tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Yeah. And it's a crazy day, and everybody wants to go and buy flowers or chocolates or take each other out on dinners or whatever you want to do. But you know what? I don't particularly go wild on Valentine's Day. And I don't know about other people. Please don't stone me or whatever. Yeah. I think Valentine's Day should be every day of your married life. Yeah. And of course, you can't always buy chocolates and roses and do all these funny things. But you can really go out intentionally, Shaw. Yes, intentionally do something. But now I'm thinking so many times, Charlotte and I had another program the other night, and we were saying, there's always this New Year's resolutions. Why don't we all make tonight Valentine's resolutions? Why don't we just make Valentine's? So remember now, George, explain to us, what does attorney say? We make a resolution. What is a resolution?
Can I just interrupt? I see Pastor Jeffrey say, happily married for 56 years. Loving someone is dangerous, but well worth it. I love this, Pastor Jeff.
Well done.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Turning to the question of a resolution, a resolution is basically an agreement where the parties come together and they decide upon a direction that they're going to take. And if there's no agreement, as you would know in council, you will vote on a resolution, and if the majority says it's going to be yay, then so shall it be. And if it's the other way around, it's not going to carry, the resolution won't carry, and it cannot be implemented. Wow. So when we make resolutions, it almost become a law. Although the resolution is confirmed, it becomes a law and everybody has to abide by it. Yes. Alternatively, you would be found wanting in the way that you may then proceed from that point onwards. So a Valentine's resolution, I believe, is an agreement between husband and wife or between partners or spouses where they decide together that this is the way that we are going to conduct
Yes.
ourselves
Absolutely.
going into the future. And yes, even in when a resolution is taken, you would sometimes find that one would try to step out of line, sometimes deliberately, sometimes accidentally. But I think that is when we need to revisit the resolution we made and be gracious enough to understand the basis on which you stepped out of the resolution. So a Valentine's resolution, like a New Year's resolution, which I think sometimes we make glibly and willy-nilly, but a Valentine's resolution is a resolution you make that affects your spouse.
Both of you.
And and the other way around as well. And that's why I think it's important that when you, it's almost like a promise you make to the person to say, from this point onwards, this is how I will be conducting myself.
Sure.
This is how I will be treating you. This is what we are going to do together as husband and wife. So understanding the principle of the resolution, I think it's an excellent point that with Valentine being in the air,
So the
that we look at it.
principle is what we are looking at. So if you and I would like everyone that's watching us, what resolution can you make? Now remember, a resolution is also something that you will not do. So if you always had a quick fuse and you want to make that resolution,
Yeah.
agree tonight that I will not flip myself
Yes.
for every little thing that you do. I'll stay calm. So let's get some resolutions here. Sean?
Yeah, I think, you know what, it's because it comes so quickly, you know, that you flip yourself for nothing. I mean, small little things like there, just different you're thinking this way, but she's thinking that way. And I think, you know, you have to make a decision. When it comes to that point, you know, I mean, sometimes you can't help it. It just happened to you that you flip and then, but you do it straight away. Are you saying, that's why I say, slow to speak, quick to hear. I think that is one of the things
So what
that we have to.
resolution will you and I then apply from now? We had one, I must say, we had one many years ago. We never said, I'll divorce you. Never.
Yeah.
Even when I left you, still said, no, there's no divorce. So divorce is not a word. But belittling each other.
Yeah, I think, yeah,
we will
Yeah.
never belittle
Yeah.
each other. That's That's
Yes.
a fantastic Valentine's resolution.
Yeah, or said words, or any
Anything that
belittle
would,
words,
or
No,
take your character on. Or things like that. What would you say?
There's a lot of little things. Also, the D word never mentioned. The
The
divorce
D
word.
word.
It's never
Okay.
the D word. Yeah.
The D word.
the D word, okay.
Never mentioned. It's because divorce is never on the table. So no matter how we fight, divorce is not the. We don't fight and I'm gonna divorce you. That's not the.
Yeah.
So never on the table. I think the other thing that we always said to each other was that we'll always be honest with each other. So there's always a complete honesty. I can honestly say I've never lied to Abby before. Only when we kept her 40th birthday, and then I came out with it
Yes.
with a big party afterwards. So
You were so relieved afterwards.
always
We kept
forgiven
this.
her. So I was going to be honest with her, even the financial, because as a man, sometimes when you're under financial stress, you don't want to tell your
Yeah.
because you don't want to burden her. But she said to me, look, I'm big enough, I can take whatever whatever the issue is. It doesn't have to be financial. So over the years, I've always been honest. I said, Abby, this is our situation, or this is, maybe another thing I want to say is that I remember, and this is maybe I want other people to do as well, is to have an honest conversation.
Yeah.
Before we got married, you remember?
Oh,
before
yeah.
I got married to her, I said to her, we went somewhere. I went to a restaurant, wherever it was. We sat and I spoke honestly with her. I said to her, whatever I said. It was about our lives.
Tell us.
It was at that stage my pay was 1,000 rand a month. So I said, look, I'm going in the ministry. It's not going to be
Easy.
It's not going to be easy. Financially, it's not going to be easy. Do you still want me? Type of a thing. It was
Yeah.
an honest,
Laying
clear,
bare.
laying bare. This is my situation. I want to marry you, but this is the situation. And so
I was just starry-eyed, and I was listening to him, and only once we got into it.
You worth.
Oh, he
you
said
worth
the truth. That was the
1,000
truth. He said.
So I said to her, it was a tough. I had a tough conversation with her. So that when she said yes, I knew, okay, we're in this. We're gonna make it. And then even while we were married, there were some tough conversations. You know, where we had to say, this is how I feel. And this is, and it might have brought tears or whatever it is, but I've made so I don't know about a new one for this year, no, but what we are saying is that
Maybe no more
we made
kittens?
no more kittens, please, no
Making
more
sure
cats.
of that.
In Jesus' name, no more cats.
It's 3 against 1, my dear.
Oh my word, my whole family likes cats. So, but it was an honest conversation,
yeah.
and that is very, very important.
And you too? A resolution?
While she's thinking, I believe that what I have resolved, what I've said to her is, I will always trust you. I will trust you completely.
That's
Because
good.
I know that you've proven yourself over this 33 years
It's powerful.
that you can be trusted completely. So when you do make a decision, even if I'm not around, I know you will take a decision
Yes.
with my best interest at heart. And there should be no doubt that I will come back and I will criticize what the decision that you
Yeah.
may have made. I may come and inquire from you, but it's because maybe I need more information on it. But I want you to know I trust you completely as an equal in this relationship, as my partner in this relationship, and you can rest assured that I will respect the decision that you've taken. So to me, that's an important one, to re-establish the fact that our relationship is built on complete trust.
Yeah.
And because I trust her, I know that she's never going to do anything that's going to hurt me in any way whatsoever.
Yes.
Maybe inadvertently so, but there will come a realization on her side that that was maybe not the right thing to do or to say at the time. But I would want to, when that happens, I want her to be reminded of the fact that I said, I trust you completely in whatever you do.
Yes, sorry. I see Charlene saying marriage is hard work. It is definitely hard work. You need to work at it. And I think as part of the resolution is not towards just one another, but because we still have children in the house, we need to model a good marriage for them as well, because they're going to be husbands one day. And they need to know how to treat their wife, and they need to know how a wife responds. So there's another responsibility in making this work and making it fun and making it good, so they can look forward to being married one day as well.
In marriage is also to be open and transparent, because it's exactly what you said now. You become the blueprint for your children. They see marriage, they look at your marriage, what it's going to be like one day. And I take it now, we've got one child that is married. And you know, sometimes when he grew up, it was like a hard-headed, strong-willed, whatever person. And unfortunately, we're the same also, so we're both strong. But funny enough, as he's in his own marriage now, I see so much of his father. Because that is what was modeled to him.
Yes.
Those characters, that manhood, that responsibility, that's taking ownership, that caring for his family, support. It just, when it started, I looked at him and I thought, now, okay. But then I looked at my husband and I thought, wow, maar that's what George altyd gedoen het. That's how he treated us as a family. That's how he treated me as a wife. And I think what Charlene and Abby said there, it's so true, marriage is hard work.
At the
It's
same
just the
time,
bottom line.
we need to realize that even though it's hard work, and I want to just agree with all of you, it's fun work.
Yeah.
Goodness me, we've decided that's one of our resolutions is that we will have fun.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, we will have fun until the day that we die. We will not laugh.
Yeah.
We will have so much fun together. We're planning another funny trip already. We
While
want to
I'm
be
alive,
creative.
she will have fun.
While he's alive, I will have fun. But the truth is, you make your resolution. And I want to encourage everybody that's watching us now, why don't you write down Write it down, the resolution that you make tonight. And then, Pastor Abby, but we're modeling resolutions on the Word of God. So if we go to Galatians 5 verse 22, you've got it right there. If you look at Galatians 5 verse 22, it's so easy to practice those things in church. You know, we're all very spiritual when we come to church. We hallelujah. We're kind, we forgive, we're full of long suffering.
Until
We
you
don't
go
do-
home.
until you go home and you speak to the person that you should be kind to the most.
Yeah.
Huh? The person that you should love. And you know, one of the things that we have decided way back, and I have decided, is that I'm going to smile in my husband's eyes.
Yeah.
So when I look at him, I will always smile at him, simply because my smile should be reserved for him, not for the people out there. People wake up and smell the coffee. This is the first one. So,
Yeah.
Pastor Abby, what are those attributes
But
you're
I
looking at?
think what I want to add on to this is that, you know, we said the wife must respect the husband. But Marianne does, she always, all the time, she said to me, "You're Mr. Handsome. You Mr. Successful." She always boosts me,
Yeah.
and that
I am good,
that
eh?
and that give me as a man a respect. I mean,
Yes.
it's not that she bow down; it's respect. Otherwise, she's telling me, "You're an amazing man." Now, for the men, I also want to say that God said He gave you a helper. And we are supposed to do something that she can help us. If you sit at home and got no vision, no nothing, there's a wasted helper here. Is somebody,
Sure.
because you all three smart girls, if we haven't got a vision for our life, for our family, they got nothing to help.
Oh,
And what's
that's
going
a
to happen?
revelation.
They're just going to do other things,
Help
things
elsewhere.
that's outside the marriage, and look for some other people to help. So I think that's a very important for men here tonight. I want to say you must have a vision. You must have something that your wife wants to follow you. And if you haven't got anything, I'm sorry, things going to go wrong. And I think that is very, very much what I say. She always said to me, I must say, this is what Marianne always, you're handsome, you're smart, you're successful. And yes, so I feel smart. I didn't feel smart, but then I
do
feel
say
all of a
it's
sudden, I feel so much smarter. I feel like, you know, I want to check on my bank account, how much million is in there.
Well, our time is really running out, and it's such a brilliant conversation. But I really want to leave you with what I feel that we need to be following in our marriages. Those things, Pastor Abby.
Most definitely. I think also when we made up the promise to one another, it wasn't just before the witnesses and past, it was before God. And that He must be the center of our marriages. And through the Holy Spirit, helping us in our daily lives. And when I read Galatians 5:22, just take it to heart. It says here, but the Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruit in our lives: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. There is no law against these things.
There's no law against self-control.
No limit. No limit.
You don't have to practice.
You don't need a lawyer for self-control.
Sorry,
For
he's going
friendliness.
out of business.
If you want to, and I can't agree more with Umshao saying you have to have a vision. Because you took this girl from her father's house.
Yeah.
You can't take her on a slow ride to nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You have to take her somewhere. And and this is really, it's like a vision statement.
Yes.
It's a vision statement that says, this is the values that our house is going to live on.
Yes.
Love, here we're going to love each other.
Yes.
Here we're going to have joy. Here we're
Yes.
going to have peace in our home, in our marriage.
Yeah.
Here we're going to have
Speak the peace.
faithfulness, kindness,
Patience.
all of those patience.
Patience.
It's a big thing.
Long
Gentleman.
suffering.
And somebody was saying about to speak, words that are kind.
Yes.
Kindness is something that you need in your marriage.
Yeah.
You need to be kind.
For sure.
You need to be good. You need to be
you
faithful.
like
Kind words, eh?
And all of those things. You can't have harsh words all the You need to be kind.
And
Somebody,
for
Mike?
me-
Mike?
For me, where is it better to practice those things?
Yeah.
In your house,
Yeah.
with your husband, with your partner. For me, that's the nice part of marriage,
Yeah.
Michelle.
Yeah.
You have that safe space where you can practice those things without somebody judging you or criticizing you. And you make mistakes. And I think that is where,
Yeah.
like Marianne says, that's where the fun part comes in.
Yeah.
Because you can be yourself, you can make those mistakes, you can make up, you can break up a million times a day. and you are happy in your space.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty for marriage for me. Two people, one mind, one vision, striving for the same thing.
Yes.
And in between you have your little fallouts, but that's where the makeup and breakup and the fun part comes in. And we carry on.
I think before we carry on, I think on people watching, maybe you must write down there what you're going to do differently. You, not what you learned here. What are you going to do to your spouse in the next month? What are you going to do differently? Maybe we would love to see what your response is on that. Maybe I'm going to take her out for coffee any time of the day, phone her or whatever. Smile at him or her more.
Buy flowers.
I saw your daughter said, Dad, you must buy mom flowers. That was your reminder.
It's really been very great speaking to all of you, and we would love to just continue with this program.
Yeah.
But if you can just go and write down Galatians 5 verse 22 and say that is the value of this house. And be married and counting the years until death do us part. Because why on earth do you want to go through it again? Goodness gracious me. Divorce is expensive, I promise you. Ask the attorney, you can tell you. Very expensive. Children are very messed up. Ask the social worker after the divorce. Ask the pastor. It's never a good idea, I promise you. And ask a family of a divorced child. It's painful for everyone. You don't want it. Work on that marriage. Make it count. And do what God expects of you. If you listen to us tonight, then you are the one that needs to make the change. God bless you. And don't forget to register for our romantic weekend coming up in May, the 28th of May, at the 5-Star Game Lodge, Kazuko Lodge. Please phone the number that's on the screen right now. There's a WhatsApp number coming up on the screen. It's right there on the screen. Send your name to that WhatsApp and say we want to know more about the romantic weekend at Kazuko Lodge. We want to have you there that weekend.
Absolutely.
We know we the two couples, we will be there and we are going to check you out.
I think you want to be there because you arrive there. I'm not going to give a secret away. But when you arrive there, your mouth hanging open because it's like
5-star.
5-star.
5-Star Game Lodge.
You eat so well.
Eh?
You eat so well.
You eat so well. You sleep so well. And then there's always, it's guaranteed that you will come back differently. Now, for 5,000 Rand, I'll say it now, 5,000 Rand, you must come. We're waiting for your response. And
a whole weekend of no children.
Yes, no children.
No cats.
We will talk about the other secrets. We're not going to talk.
Well, God bless you all, and thank you very much for watching. Please